Hello everyone and welcome to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will be working on the Pieceful baskets. This is block number 3. It's called a 9-patch basket block. These are the fabrics that I already have cut out for you, and I'm going to reposition you real quick and then we will get right on into this. Okay, I now have you repositioned, so we are going to just get into the sewing and see what we can do. Let's see. I have not done any of my diagonals or anything, so that will be the first thing I do. Now, of course, I'm not going to show all that to you. If you're working it, you have the instructions. And if you're on block number 3, you know how to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my pieces, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so now I have both of my pieces marked. Now I have a couple more in here that I need to do this to as well. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to chit chat and I'm going to start sewing. And it's going to take me a second here to see what pieces I need. And what we are doing half square triangles. We're just layering 2 pieces right side together. And we are going to stitch on that 1/4 inch mark. And what I use when I make my marks is this little tool right here. It is called a marking tool. It came in a set of 3. If you're interested in at least seeing what it looks like, you can check out the links in my description. I do have it in the links. And somehow I have unthreaded my machine. I know how I did it. When I was setting it up, I accidentally grabbed the thread and pulled it out. That can happen, yeah. That can happen. So we are just going to stitch on that 1/4 inch. Yes, we do this to both. We have 2 M's and 2 O's, or this is M and this is O. And we do this to both of them because we are going to make half square triangles out of them. So guys, I hope y'all are having a great day. It's been overcast here, and I know I shouldn't do this. I should have just done the other one, but I'm just taking that off and going to put it here. So when I got home today, it was nice and moderate temperatures. I mean, it's in the upper 80s, but I was able to get out and water my garden. And we're hoping pretty soon our irrigation system will come in. My husband ordered an irrigation system for me because he doesn't like me trying to water in this heat, and plus, you know, we'll be able to water it when it needs to be watered instead of waiting for me to get home to water it. Because some days I do get home pretty late. But anyway, it's beautiful, but I'm having to find an organic way to get rid of roly-polies. They're in my one of my strawberries and just decimating it. The roly-polies are getting to my strawberries before I am. Okay, I have all of my half square triangles trimmed out and ready here. I'm just going to lay it down and look at my instructions again because I had to make 4 of them and I did have to trim them down. And now it says assemble unit. Y'all, this is like the fastest to get to assemble unit that I've seen of these. So what I'll do is attach the P in the end. And I know I didn't state this, but on these, everything is at 1/4 inch unless otherwise stated. So we are sewing at 1/4 inch. And I'm just going to open this up and put the half square triangle on it. But I have looked over this pattern, and now I hadn't when I started it, but while I was pressing and trimming, I kind of was reading it, and it does seem pretty straightforward. Okay, I have that first row. Now on to the second row. We are going to get another end, and then we are going to get another half square triangle. I'm going to go ahead and put those two together. And then we are going to get an H, and we will put that H to the right side of that half square triangle. Yeah, and I'm so excited. My weekend is starting. It is Thursday night. My weekend starts now. Well, it started when I got off work. So now that my weekend has started, that means I could wake up and start sewing, but that's not going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to have my grandbaby, so I can't do that. Okay, so here's our first row. I'm just laying it up here out of the way. My second row. And let's look at the third row. Is going to be a half square triangle and a G. Okay, so we have our half square triangle going this direction, and I'm going to add the G to the right side of it. I'm having to fill that seam underneath there so I can make sure it's not turned the wrong direction. So now we have all three rows completed. So what I'm going to do is just start assembling these together. Okay, so now we are assembling, and I do have nested seams. So let me get my pins so we can nest these seams, pin them together. Now the instructions do say to press open, but I like to nest the seams if I possibly can. And being that I know where it's going, like one row I press to the outside, one row I press to the inside, so it will nest and we won't have a problem with that. But back to my weekend, it's going to be pretty good. I have my grandbaby tomorrow, so I'm not going to get to sew in the morning. He has a little doctor's appointment tomorrow. I'm sure just a checkup. Nothing's wrong. He's fine. And so that means I get to sew after, I guess, 1 o'clock maybe. I'm hoping. You never know with these kids. But I will get to sew. And I guess while I have him, I'm going to be doing house cleaning. Because he'll play just fine in his little pack and play. He's getting to where he likes to entertain himself now. He'll play with toys, and I'll put him in the pack and play just to keep him safe and out of things, because he is furniture cruising at the moment. So let's see. I got to see which way. I sewed this on the wrong side, y'all. This ain't the first time, though. It ain't the first time. I was yickety-yakketing and didn't realize that I was sewing on the wrong side. And I sit there and was thinking about that. Don't do it on the wrong side. Don't do it on the wrong side. Sure enough, I did it on the wrong side. But it don't take me but just a second to rip a seam. I start talking, and I'm telling you, I don't pay no more attention than a bat in the moon, and I sew on the wrong side. So let me get these nested on the correct side now, and I'll tend to them strings in a second. When I press it out is when I'll tend to those seams. Now I'm going to double check here, because I could have one of them the wrong way and the other one the right way, and it's no telling. Okay. We got blue, white, half square triangle, white, half square, blue. Okay. So this is the correct direction now. So let's see if I can get it done right. That's what happens when I talk and don't pay attention to what I'm doing. It's very easy to happen. But I have a lot of projects on my table this weekend. I am going to pick up some fabric tomorrow. If you saw my updates, I told you what my plan was to get me a notebook going and write down You know, if I had fabric, find a pattern for it and write it down and write down what I needed. And that's what I'm doing. I'm getting fabric for projects that I want to get bagged up. And I can only do a little bit at a time. Some of them I probably already have the backing and stuff for. But if they're a big quilt, I'm not going to back it. I'm going to take it to my long arm and let them do it. Because they do a fabulous job. So no need for me to do anything. If they can do it and do it better, I'll let them. I'm not perfecting that skill. Now, some of them I do want to quilt. I'm not going to hand quilt them, but I will machine quilt some of them. Okay, this one here only has one seam to nest because I have one in particular that I know I just want to do a straight line quilt on it. I don't want a frilly design on it. I just want a straight line seam, quilt done on it. So I have this one together. Now I'm going to just slide it under here and get to sewing on it. And guys, I don't know if y'all are as excited as I am, but I am so excited about the sew along. And I've had such great response from people on the sew along. And in response to the patterns that I've tested, yeah, I've tested some beautiful patterns. And, I mean, I dare say I'm probably going to make a quilt out of every one of the patterns that I've tried. But I can't do that for the sew-along. I have to do one pattern. And that's going to be fun. Because I keep trying to think. I know everybody else is using Scrappy, but I'm using a particular fabric. So I have to think about that too, because the idea for me is to use this up out of my stash. So we'll see on that. We'll see. Now I have another piece to put down here on the bottom. Now I will have to press this out real good, but I need to put my K down here on the bottom. I'm hoping this pattern is as simple and easy as it looks and comes out great, because a lot of times those that look really simple are the ones that get me. And I don't want that. I don't want it getting me. And what I need to do is make sure these are even. Okay, now I need to press, and I will be right back. Okay, well, it didn't come together perfect, but it looks good. So that's all that matters. Let's see what our next step is. We are going to add a J to the right side. Let's see if I have one or two of those. It looks like I have two. So let me keep an alphabet on that. And the J is going over here from top to bottom. And I am going to pin this at the top. And then maybe pin it in the middle. Because I just want to make sure. Well, now I'm going to pin it at the bottom. And y'all, I mean, when I do have square triangles, we never know what we're going to get. I love making half square triangles because I never know what they're going to turn out looking like. And I do like half square triangles. Okay, so far, this is looking right. I'm hoping. So now I am going to sew this, and this is a tiny, tiny piece. Oh, it's hard to hold on to. Now I have my two little half square triangles done. So my next thing I am going to taking a D, and I only have, well, nope, I have two L's, and it's telling me to only make one of these. So I probably am going to be using this on another piece as well. So let's see how that half square. The half square goes with the white up into the center. Okay, probably should have pressed this, but y'all, this seems like it's going really, really well. So I am going to go ahead and press this. So what I am going to do now is attach this to the top of my block. Let's see if this will work, y'all. I'm telling you, this is like an adventure every time I make a quilt, because you just never know what's going to turn out and what's not. But you know what? Even if it doesn't turn out how the patterns suggest, that is, I think I've said it before, that's my artistic liberties. Because if you cross stitch, you know, in cross stitching, we do that a lot. We use artistic liberties with our colors, because if you don't have a color, but you have one close to it, you just change the color. Or if you want to use a completely different color line, use a completely different color line. And that's the same way with quilting. You use different fabric lines to, you know, a pattern looks completely different in different color lines. I'm going to go ahead and press this out, because I think I veered when I should have veered. But I don't know. I'm going to see if it looks okay. So far, it's looking good. So my next step, I'm looking to see, I do use that other little half square triangle. We take a C, and then we use that other L. I don't need this yet. I guess I could put that over out of the way. This is some hard fabric to tell if you've got the right side or not. But I'm going to put my C and my L together. Anyway, what I was telling you guys is I've got a lot of projects on my table for this weekend. I am going to try to get quite a few things knocked out. So, because you know I sew almost every day. You get a video every day so far. Until I just feel like I can't do that anymore. You will get a video every day. I'm having to lay my strip how it is showing on here, because I don't want to put it on going the wrong direction, because this is a very tiny piece, and I cannot imagine that being really easy if I sewed it on the wrong direction to take off and put back on. But I have a couple projects that I'm wanting to at least get cut out. So that will be part of my weekend, what I hope to do. Oh, goodness. Because I do still have that pressed flowers. It is still on my schedule to be cut tomorrow, Friday. Because I do want to get that done, at least finished. But I have finished projects that need to be bound. I have things I want to get cut. And those that need to be bound, those may be a little later. I mean, I want to sew more than I want to bind. But I know eventually I'm going to have to start binding them, because if I don't... But y'all stay tuned, because some of these projects are very exciting. Well, all of them are very exciting to me. You will be seeing some of the tester blocks that I have done. You will probably see me make them into some of those into a quilt in a different fabric line, because a couple of those I really, really liked. And I know two right now that I'm definitely, that Silverstone and the Grandma's Scrap Quilt, I know I'll make a quilt out of those two. So far, this is what we have. Let's see what our next step is. But in addition to doing all of these, getting quilts sewn, I have plenty I want to cut and, you know, have ready for me to do a quilt. And that's just kind of how I like to do it. I like to cut one out and have it ready. So whenever I'm ready to sew on it, it's ready for me to sew on it. But I do have, I know 2 pieces of fabric I have to get yet tomorrow. And once I get them tomorrow, I can cut out. I'm probably going to get the backing as well for it, just because it's a special line and I don't know if I'll be able to get the fabric later on. But even if I don't get that fabric, it's okay because I'm able to get fabric, you know, pretty much anywhere, even if I don't get the backing. So I don't know. I may or I may not get the backing, but I do know 2 fabrics I've got to get, and y'all, I get to pick up my quilts. My sparklers quilt. So y'all will be able to see that on my update. I got so excited. Well, it wasn't necessarily excited. It was out of necessity. I knew I wasn't going to be able to carry it to the long arm if I didn't, and I knew I had to if I wanted it by 4th of July. And y'all, she's had it a week exactly. She got it last Thursday right at 5 p.m. at closing time. So, you know, it took her 1 day shy of a week to do it, because I'm not counting that Thursday, because all she could do was put it on a hanger and put it in the closet for long arming, because they were getting ready to walk out the door when I ran in there. But I'm going tomorrow morning after I get my grandson, and we are going to head over there. And then after we do that, we're going to go do a little grocery shopping. Or we may go do a little grocery shopping beforehand, because I have to get him pretty early, and they don't open until 8. So I may just go straight and do my grocery shopping, because I won't be in there very long, not with him. Okay, so right now this is what we have. We're going to put the top row on. But yeah, we're going to have a pretty big day tomorrow, because I am going to go on and get my shopping. I think I'm going to do that. Just go on and do my grocery shopping after I pick him up, because he'll be freshly fed, belly full. He won't be getting upset, because he's getting where he don't want to take a nap as much. And y'all, oh, I forgot to tell you, I got my first cucumber out of my garden today. I've been watching it for the past several days, but I am going to have to remember to do like Jess does with Roots and Refuge. When she goes out to her garden, a lot of times she got a salt shaker in her pocket. I'm going to have to do that, because that cucumber, I picked it and ate it right there in the garden. And it was good. The only thing, the skin was kind of bitter. And yes, I washed it because I was watering my plants. So I just broke it off that vine and washed it up in the water hose that I was watering the plants with, and took a bite out of it. Well, I actually ate it. I ate the whole thing. The inside was really good. The only thing questionable was the skin. It didn't taste real good. Okay, so we made 1 block. And I'm guessing this, yeah, this is how it's showing. So now let me turn the page and see what we do. So now what I do is I have to take, making sure, my F and put it on my A, the bottom right hand corner, and I have to sew it on that diagonal. Let me make sure, sew on the diagonal, stitched on the, draw a diagonal, stitch on the drawn line. Okay, I want to make sure I'm doing that right before I do it. Now see, times like this is when I'm happy I have the light to guide me, and I draw that line because I can't see my guidelines down here anyway. And it's very easy for me to get right off of that line. Okay, so I have that pressed, and the instructions did tell me to cut that in a diagonal. So let's see. A set of them are the pedestals, and a set are the top. Let me find my top here. Okay, so for the left side one, what I do is I just press the center and then pin that. That way I know my peak is at the center, and then I go to each end. But I'm just going to lay this down. There's probably a different way to do it. That's just how I do it. And I can't even say that it works for me. Sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. So I'm just going on and moving on to the next the corner piece. That's what these are. They make the corners of the blocks. And I'll just go on and keep sewing these on, and I will show you what they look like once they are done. Now these are the top corners. These are not the pedestals yet. And if you remember, the pedestals are where I normally have my problems. But I'm going to try to do like I'm doing here and centering them. Maybe that'll work, but I'll bring you back once it's done to show you. So guys, this is block 3 of Pieceful baskets. It took me, looks like about an hour and about 5-10 minutes to do this, and the majority of that was pressing. So guys, thank you so much for joining me today and sewing with me. This has been a beautiful block, and I'm cleaning up some little loose strings here, and I really do appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to join me just to see what's going on. This is the Pieceful baskets. My little trick that I did was I took my pedestal pieces, folded them in half and pressed them, and then I took my block and folded it in half and pressed it, and then just matched them center seams up. That seemed to have worked, guys. That may be what everybody does, and I'm just now figuring it out. But leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, have a very blessed day. Goodbye.